Hello, Grim Histories fans! Welcome back to the channel where we delve into the darkest, most twisted corners of history. Today we're journeying back to a time of faith, warfare, and children to the Holy Land on a crusade. No adult supervision, no logistical plan, no clear understanding of the dangers that lay ahead. Europe is still reeling from the bloody, decades-long adult crusades, a series of brutal religious wars that had claimed countless lives. Adults, hardened warriors with all their resources and experience, struggled to conquer the Holy Land. They relied on the charity of strangers, often facing hunger, disease, and the ever-present threat of violence. We'll delve deeper into the mysteries, the horrors, and the surprisingly dark humor of this incredible story in the next episode. Before we go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Grim Histories for more chilling tales from the past. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next terrifying adventure. Their journey was a testament to both the boundless faith and the terrifying vulnerability of childhood in a brutal age. But what happened to them? Where did they go? And what dark secrets does their story conceal? And yet children believed they could succeed where seasoned knights had failed. Just a sea of innocent faces, driven by a fervent, almost apocalyptic faith. Sounds insane, right? Because it was. Absolutely, utterly insane. This wasn't some small, isolated incident. Multiple accounts, from chronicles to papal records, paint a picture of a mass movement of children, a tide of young pilgrims washing across the medieval landscape. The most famous account speaks of two separate armies, one led by a boy named Nicholas from Cologne and another by Stephen, a shepherd boy from France. These weren't organized, well-equipped armies. They were, children, carrying makeshift crosses, singing hymns, and somehow, inexplicably, believing they could conquer the Saracens through sheer faith and the grace of God. Prepare yourselves, because the story we're about to unravel is one of the most bizarre, tragic, and utterly baffling events of the Middle Ages, the Children's Crusade. Was it simply blind faith, fueled by the passionate sermons of religious zealots? Or was there something more sinister at play? Some scholars suggest that the Children's Crusade was a reaction to the failures of the adult crusades, a desperate, childlike attempt to recapture the purity of religious devotion amidst the bloodshed and corruption of the adult world. Others point to the prevalent social unrest and economic hardship of the time, seeing the crusade as a form of escape, a desperate flight from poverty and misery. Can you imagine? Thousands of children, some as young as 7, leaving their homes, their families, their entire known world, to march across Europe. Think about the sheer audacity of it. The year is around 1212. What fueled this extraordinary, almost unbelievable movement? Imagine the scenes, a vast, chaotic throng of children, their faces a mixture of naive hope and growing fear, snaking through the medieval countryside. That, my friends, is just the beginning. We'll delve deeper into the mysteries, the horrors, and the surprisingly dark humor of this incredible story in the next episode. Before we go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Grim Histories for more chilling tales from the past. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next terrifying adventure. Last time we were left reeling, weren't we? The sheer audacity of thousands of children, some barely old enough to wield a stick, setting out on a crusade to the Holy Land. It sounds like something out of a fever dream, doesn't it? A bizarre, almost comical yet utterly tragic tale. The church, while powerful, was also deeply embroiled in political infighting. People were desperate for a sign, a miracle, anything to break the cycle of suffering. They carried little more than rudimentary weapons, their small frames burdened by the weight of their beliefs and the long, arduous journey ahead. Their parents, some reluctantly, others with desperate hope, allowed them to join this improbable pilgrimage. The sheer scale of the movement is staggering, a testament to the power of religious belief in a time when faith often represented the only solace, amidst hardship and uncertainty. Stephen's message provided that hope, a fantastical yet seductive promise of divine intervention. That's a question that has haunted historians for centuries. What we do know is that his message ignited a powerful flame of religious fervor, a flame that consumed thousands and led them on a path fraught with peril and ultimately unimaginable tragedy. The journey itself, as we'll see in the next segment, was far from the divinely guided pilgrimage Stephen promised. But the absurdity only deepens. To understand the Children's Crusade, we need to delve into the fertile ground from which it sprung, the religious fervor and societal anxieties of 13th century Europe. Imagine a world shrouded in the shadow of the Church. Faith wasn't just a belief. It was the bedrock of life, woven into the very fabric of society. Enter Stephen, a young shepherd boy from the south of France. Some accounts paint him as a charismatic preacher, others as a naive visionary. Regardless of his personality, Stephen claimed divine inspiration, proclaiming that God had chosen him to lead a holy army of children to reclaim Jerusalem, and the anxieties of a populace yearning for salvation. Soon, children began to flock to him, drawn by a mixture of religious zeal, a naive hope for adventure, and perhaps a desperate escape from their harsh realities. These were not just unruly mobs, but boys and girls from different social backgrounds, united by a shared belief in Stephen's divinely ordained mission. His message, simple yet powerful, resonated with the anxieties and hopes of a troubled time. The First Crusade, though centuries passed, still cast a long shadow, a potent symbol of divine favor and military glory. But the Holy Land remained a contested territory, a constant reminder of the ongoing struggle between Christendom and Islam. This created a potent brew of religious longing, fear, and a desperate yearning for a miraculous intervention. And that's where our story takes a truly bizarre turn. The year was 1212. Europe was grappling with famine, disease, and the ever-present threat of war. His call wasn't met with silence. News of Stephen's vision spread like wildfire, fueled by word of mouth, whispers, and hushed tones. Think of the scene, a vast, slowly gathering throng of children, their faces a mixture of unwavering faith and innocent fear. But was Stephen truly a divinely appointed leader, or was he a clever manipulator preying on the desperation of the masses? That's a question that has haunted historians for centuries. What we do know is that his message ignited a powerful flame of religious fervor, a flame that consumed thousands and led them on a path fraught with peril and ultimately unimaginable tragedy. The journey itself, as we'll see in the next segment, was far from the divinely guided pilgrimage Stephen promised. So, our young crusaders, fueled by faith and perhaps a little naivete, set off. Imagine it. Thousands of children, many barely old enough to wield a stick, much less a sword, traversing the treacherous landscapes of 13th century Europe. Their path, a winding ribbon of hope and despair, snaked through verdant valleys and over towering mountain passes. Can you even begin to imagine the sheer scale of such an undertaking? Bandits, ever opportunistic, preyed on the vulnerable children. The adults who had initially supported the crusade, many of whom had likely grown weary of their presence, now faced a logistical nightmare. Their destination? The Holy Land, but what became of them once they arrived? Did they face the same perils as the adult crusades? Or did their youthful inexperience lead to even greater tragedy? The historical record is frustratingly silent on this point. It leaves us with a gaping hole, a chilling void in the narrative. How could they transport thousands of children across the sea? The ships available were insufficient, the cost exorbitant. Promises of divine intervention didn't pay for passage on a merchant vessel. Some accounts speak of merchants who, rather than offering aid, saw the children as a commodity, readily exploiting their plight for personal gain. These children, who had set out with such unwavering faith, were now facing the harsh reality of human cruelty. It's a chilling reminder of how easily idealism can be shattered against the rocks of reality, a story that continues to haunt us centuries later. The tale of these children is not simply a historical footnote. It's a profound tragedy, a testament to the fragility of human life and the often cruel indifference of the world. The noble ideal of a holy crusade was slowly crumbling under the weight of hunger, disease, and exploitation. The sheer audacity. Their initial numbers, already impressive, swelled as more children, drawn by the fervor of Nicholas's prophecy and the promise of divine intervention, joined their ranks. The initial wave, led by Stephen, had already faced hardship, But this new influx brought with it a whole new set of challenges. How did they manage to feed such a vast, unwieldy army? Where did they find shelter from the elements? The accounts suggest a mixture of charity and sheer desperation. Villagers, moved by pity or perhaps a healthy dose of religious obligation, offered food and lodging, but such generosity couldn't sustain an army of this size for long. The journey itself was a brutal test of endurance. Disease, a constant companion in the Middle Ages, ravaged their ranks. Dysentery, typhoid, and the ever-present threat of starvation weakened them daily. Imagine the stench, the constant suffering, the sheer exhaustion. We have accounts of children collapsing by the roadside, their tiny bodies succumbing to the relentless pressures of their pilgrimage. It's a truly harrowing image, isn't it? And then there were the dangers of the road itself. Their arrival at Marseille, a bustling port city on the Mediterranean coast, offered a brief respite. But it was a false dawn. The accounts become fragmented here. Some children were sent home, others possibly abandoned, while a smaller group, perhaps a few hundred strong, actually managed to board ships. The Children's Crusade, instead of a shining example of faith, became a symbol of vulnerability, exploitation, and the harsh realities of medieval life. It's a chilling reminder of how easily idealism can be shattered against the rocks of reality, a story that continues to haunt us centuries later. The tale of these children is not simply a historical footnote. It's a profound tragedy, a testament to the fragility of human life and the often cruel indifference of the world. So we've followed these children, these innocent souls, across treacherous mountains and unforgiving seas. Their faith, their unwavering belief in a divine mission, it's almost unbearable to contemplate. Many were not the pious, selfless individuals they appeared to be. Some were opportunistic grifters, preying on the children's faith for their own gain, using their piety as a cloak for their greed. Others perhaps were genuinely deluded, convinced of their own righteousness while leading these children to their doom. But the journey, as idyllic as it may have seemed in their youthful minds, was far from a pilgrimage to paradise. There's no grand, heroic battle to recount, no glorious victory to celebrate. It's a story of betrayal, of innocence lost, and of the chilling realities of a world where greed and faith could so cruelly collide. The true horror of the Children's Crusade lies not just in the death and suffering of the children themselves, but in the calculated indifference, the callous exploitation that allowed such a tragedy to unfold. It forces us to confront the dark underbelly of medieval society, a world where even the most sacred of ideals could be twisted and manipulated for profit. Instead, there is the quiet, lingering horror of exploitation, of innocence lost, of lives brutally stolen. The historical records offer no clear answers, leaving us to wonder if he too fell victim to the same cruel fate as the children he led. Did he escape the clutches of the merchants, or did he share the same tragic end as his followers? The mystery remains, a haunting echo of the lost army. The Children's Crusade, for many, wasn't a holy war. It was a horrifying business transaction. The merchants, the ship owners, the slave traders, they profited from the children's faith, their misery. They transformed a religious fervor into a lucrative trade. We're talking about a time when organized crime was woven into the very fabric of society. And in the lawless corners of the Mediterranean, the children became a commodity, a valuable commodity, ripe for exploitation. It was a descent into a nightmare. What happened to them? Where did they end up? The answer, as grim as it is likely far more prosaic and far more horrifying than any holy war. The accounts that survive paint a picture of utter chaos and exploitation. Remember those adult figures who supposedly guided the children? As the children's numbers dwindled, disease, starvation, and exhaustion taking their toll, the surviving crusaders became easy prey for the unscrupulous. Imagine the scene, a ragtag band of exhausted, starving children, their dreams of a holy war shattered. They arrive in port cities, their innocence a stark contrast to the harsh realities of the adult world. These were not the welcoming arms of Christian brethren, but the cold, calculating eyes of merchants and slave traders. Did they understand what was happening? Were they even offered a choice? The historical records remain silent on these chilling questions. What we do know is that many children were sold into slavery, their bodies. and their lives becoming the property of those who saw them not as souls destined for salvation, but as cheap labor. The accounts whisper of children being sold in Marseille, in Sicily, perhaps even further afield. Imagine the horror: children, barely old enough to understand the concept of faith, forced into lives of servitude, their youthful hopes extinguished in the harsh realities of a medieval slave market. The sheer scale of the tragedy is staggering. Were hundreds sold? Thousands? We can only speculate. The silence surrounding the fate of these children is deafening. This is not a tale of valiant knights and glorious battles. And what about Nicholas the shepherd boy? What became of the supposed instigator of this tragic event? And what about Nicholas the shepherd boy? What became of the supposed instigator of this tragic event? And what about Nicholas the shepherd boy? What became of the supposed instigator of this tragic event? So, what became of the children? What echoes remain of this bizarre, tragic pilgrimage? The truth, as always with history, is murky, layered in speculation and shrouded in the mists of time. We know some children, perhaps a few hundred, did make it back to France. Their tales, filtered through the lens of exhausted hope and harrowing experience, only deepened the mystery. The disillusionment it sparked among the populace, the questioning of authority, might have contributed to the larger social and political shifts that would shape the later Middle Ages. Others see it as a stark reminder of the dangers of blind faith, of the exploitation of the vulnerable, and the horrific consequences of unchecked religious fervor, and the enduring power of faith even when that faith leads down a path of unimaginable tragedy. It's a story that continues to fascinate and horrify, a testament to the enduring human capacity for both unwavering belief and appalling cruelty. It's a mystery wrapped in a tragedy, a stark reminder that even the purest of intentions can lead to the darkest of outcomes. The lost army marched on, not in triumphant glory, but in the silent, sorrowful procession of unanswered questions. They spoke of kindness from some, brutality from others. Did they truly believe they'd walk across the water, as some accounts suggest? Or was this a desperate hope, a childish faith clinging to the edge of despair? The immediate aftermath was a chilling silence. No glorious victory, no triumphant return, just absence. It exposed the flaws in the system, the hypocrisy of the church, and the ruthless pragmatism of those in power. The sheer naivete of the children, their unwavering faith in the face of overwhelming odds, became a powerful symbol, albeit a tragic one. Or is there a darker, more sinister truth lurking beneath the surface? Did organized crime, the slave trade, or even something more occult play a role in their disappearance? We'll likely never know for certain. The records are incomplete, scattered, and often contradictory. The stories passed down through generations are colored by the biases and fears of those who recount them. It challenged the very notion of holy war, questioning the righteousness of violence in the name of God. The sheer scale of the children's disappearance, swallowed by the vast, indifferent sea or lost to the cruelties of the adult world, left a gaping hole in the narrative of the Crusades. It became a cautionary tale, a whispered legend among the peasantry, a dark stain on the already blood-soaked tapestry of medieval Europe. But the story didn't end there. The Children's Crusade, in its failure, ironically had a lasting impact. Some historians suggest the Children's Crusade inadvertently sowed the seeds of future rebellions and uprisings. The enduring mystery, however, remains. What truly happened to the majority of those children? Were they all victims of disease, starvation, or the violence of warring factions? The Children's Crusade serves as a haunting reminder of the complexities of history, the fragility of childhood, and the enduring power of faith even when that faith leads down a path of unimaginable tragedy. It's a story that continues to fascinate and horrify, a testament to the enduring human capacity for both unwavering belief and appalling cruelty. It's a mystery wrapped in a tragedy, a stark reminder that even the purest of intentions can lead to the darkest of outcomes. The lost army marched on, not in triumphant glory, but in the silent, sorrowful procession of unanswered questions. So there we have it. We've journeyed through the bizarre tale of the singing potatoes, the spontaneously combusting monk, and the year the chickens inexplicably learned to speak Latin. All seemingly unrelated events, yet somehow woven into the tapestry of history. History, as we often receive it, is a carefully curated narrative, a single perspective chosen from countless possibilities. The dominant story often overshadows the strange, the unsettling, and the downright bizarre. By exploring these seemingly insignificant oddities, we gain a deeper appreciation for the multifaceted nature of the past and the limitations of our understanding. We must challenge the established narratives, seek out the marginalized voices, and embrace the messy, chaotic truth that lies beneath the surface. Only then can we truly grasp the complexity of human experience throughout time. Let's not forget the incident with the sentient turnips, or the baffling case of the disappearing library filled with books written in a language no one understands. Frankly, it's enough to make you question the very fabric of reality. Like this video if you found this exploration of the absurd in history intriguing, and subscribe to the channel to join me as we continue to uncover the unexpected and the unforgettable in the annals of time. This, my friends, is the absurdity of history, the hidden corners where the rational crumbles and the inexplicable reigns supreme. But amidst the chaos and the frankly ridiculous, there lies a crucial lesson. What other forgotten narratives, you might ask, are waiting to be unearthed? What untold stories lie hidden beneath the polished veneer of historical record, waiting to challenge our assumptions and expand our understanding of the past? I urge you to consider this question, to delve into the archives, and to search for your own hidden corners of history. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on these peculiar events. Like this video if you found this exploration of the absurd in history intriguing, and subscribe to the channel to join me as we continue to uncover the unexpected and the unforgettable in the annals of time.